na interrogate the claims he made in the post on Facebook. JJ akwaba na apom to saying.
Oh, me just that's a very.
Yeah, Danyamia say. In your post and paying okay say the energy minister and Kasa confirm say yen peak load demand 3,469 megawatts against dependable capacity of 3,861 megawatts. Now, Energy Commission so I say as a country, it was at least in your reserve margin of 18% of your peak load. All your calculations now, not just say in reality, your reserve margin based on a dependable capacity, it was translated to be 324 megawatts, if I'm right. And that would then mean, say offer available capacity CCR, which is 3,861 megawatts. Now, we share reserve margin now. Not just say in essence, now we see a dependable capacity of 4,096 megawatts. Now, as a country, CCR panel there, is that the communication you wanted to put out?
Thank you very much. That's a very. First of all, near the debate by a vice president. But the two just say you clear excess capacity in 17 billion. And I'm what?
Yes.
Fantastic. So, we are not talking of going forward. We are talking of out terms. Just a niyama echemu. First of all, you don't pay excess capacity based on dependable capacity. Let's get that right. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because with dependable capacity, a projection. But say year now end year, you pay excess capacity based on available capacity. Available capacity, and they say plans engineers say we're available. You perceive a supply of power. Was it David? I can't take all. Nyamime take ABS, so the minister can 3,469. The difference between your which me take and in your available no, and no any capacity at that so. And no. In that capacity, we have what you call a reserve margin. When you account for the reserve margin, near Akano, and a excess capacity, and no the encan reserve, we call reserve margin a idea would let's look at the outcomes over the past 5 years. And then compare that to the vice president, Ekosiisen, you 17 billion. And I may say this year, Minister Nadia Tuja said, your peak demand, 3,469 megawatts. Meanwhile, time your peak demand, 3,469. Now, you are available for that day, 3,861. That's what is available for us to consume. You can't consume more than what is available. If it's not available, you cannot consume it. The reason why you hear 18 is even though you're peaking near this, anything can happen. You need to escalate higher. And I mean, when you look at these figures, between the 3,469 and the available capacity of 3,861, I don't see that excess capacity. I don't know if you get my point.
Yes.
Now, can say capacity na urban. You bet me IS 40B because okaya maybe our studio crab can say you're signing agreement with Burkina. You bet me I export power. If you remember, I've kept saying that.
I remember.
Now, MPP workers said your power is the most expensive in West Africa. You need to export power. We say it's not true, and I have the data to show it's not true. But I sent you some documents. We had the National Energy Statistics 2021, paragraph 3.3, electricity exports and imports. There has been tremendous growth in electricity exports over the past 5 years. This was primarily due to increased supply to Burkina Faso. The electricity exported was 25.9% higher in 2020 than in 2019. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So clearly, we're exporting power. Then when you come to 2021, this is another document, minimum of 2020 figures. So 2020, between 2019 to 2020, we exported more than 25% in terms of increments. Now, over 2020, even after the 25, and this is what the report says, total power increased by 29.69% from 1,430 gigawatts in 2019 to 1,855 in 2020. So you are seeing an increase in energy exports because of the Burkina agreement. So even anybody says that there was no agreement, I'm prepared, there was nothing for electricity exports, exports will be too expensive in the exports here. This is the evidence from the Energy Commission. That's why I try to say, do not confuse yourself with what Energy Commission says is dependable capacity going forward. Let's rather ask ourselves, what was the total power generated, especially for IPPs? What was the total power consumed for IPPs, and even the general? What is the excess that we did not consume? Account for your reserve margin and tell me which part of it constitutes this so-called excess capacity. I could do 17 billion. Quickly, 2021 year, and a Minister of Finance, Ebae, so they answer questions, and the questions was payments to IPPs. On what did you just say over the past 4 years, and drew $1 billion. And I'm
yes.
The Pisana say, that 1 billion in real okay. Is it for only excess capacity? And also, no, it's total payments to the IPPs from government. He cannot distinguish which one accounts for excess capacity, which one does not account for excess capacity. At that time, payment here you can 5 billion in CD terms. So, GMPC HFO supply na account HFO supply and yet excess capacity. Vitol fuel supply na account and yet excess capacity. Stratcom fuel supply na account and yet excess capacity. So that 5 billion krano, it cannot be excess capacity. Then Vice President now comes to say the almost 17 billion. So what we are being told is that within 1 year, we have paid another 12 billion. In our national accounting system, the government you have 12 billion now. It must reflect in the budget. Take the 2021 budget out and show me where they paid that so-called 11 billion. It must show. Government cannot pay 11 billion in the vacuum. If government is paying 11 billion now, that 11 billion must show. Engineer challenge Japan say argument. Give us the details year on year. Won't that settle the matter?
And that breakdown in mass still.
Yes, 5 years. Also, what you have 17 billion. 2017, I paid car power. I paid this. This is the amount excess capacity. 2018, we paid this. We paid. Now you're coming in album 17 billion.
But JJ, Unim say I've been perusing a document from the Finance Ministry, and some of the guys in there forwarded it to me. I think last week. Time and I mean, we didn't come on phone after line here bad I cut it, and if you remember, and that document was forwarded to me. Say, Osha, and maybe I think we have to go through it and interrogate it. Or say,
I beg you can just mention the highlights.
Yeah, or say summary of payments to IPPs for power and capacity and fuel supplies, 2017 to 2021.
So, even before you read.
Yes.
So there's fuel supply.
Yeah, fuel supplies that can we yes.
Fuel supply cannot be excess capacity.
I get that bit. It says so we share documents now. So we share real capacity charges from 2017 to 2021. And the IPPs here, AXA, Car Power, Sunon Asogli, Sen Power, Ameri, and Amandi Energy. In terms of capacity, excess generation capacities, charges in US dollars, So can in Abomua a 16,559,525
in US dollars.
In USD 16.5 16.5 million USD.
And that's not even up to 1 billion cedis.
Yes, in cities 93,963,702.
So we're from the 17 billion.
Good. Intimeba. That's for power capacity charges to IPPs, no. And sometimes I make as a fuel supplies count from this document, no. Being a fuel suppliers, ENI Vitol, that's Sankofa, Letasco, GNPC, Stratcon Energy,
yes,
Goil and Go Energy.
Fantastic. So if you pay Goil,
yes,
Goil is an oil marketing company.
Absolutely.
But Goil supply more fuel. In fact, Goil cried, I'll be surprised on the supply more fuel to IPP. But assuming without admitting, said they even supply fuel because now almost all the thermal plants run on gas.
Yes.
In the Ukotia Goila, Ukotia Letasco, Ukotia Stratcon. These are fuels that you supply when the plants consume. Obviously, generator is here. Maybe what you loan the generator. No. So one so generator now. The bank and you
yes.
And the capacity because what was Jibusian and the generator na be.
Of course.
But if at the end of the month, we security man say what tough fuel. Then man say 5,000 cedi for the month. Meanwhile, plants you are generating because Utia ECG car. Won't you begin to question that?
You would.
You will. So the vice president cannot mislead us and tell us that they pay 17 billion in excess capacity. If it says they pay 17 billion in the energy sector, then we begin to disaggregate that.
Disaggregate the numbers.
The various components.
Yeah, because judges, I'll share document where again. I mean, so when you add up the total for the excess generation capacity to the IPPs, no, plus fuel supplies, when you do the addition from 2017 to 2021, it comes down to 17.312 billion.
So you
Ghana
solve my
cedis.
problem. So my point is that the vice president's assertion that we went and signed a take-or-pay agreement, and because of that they paid excess capacity of 17 billion is false. And these are the facts you are providing. Maybe what document go? On the face of the document, the statement of excess capacity of 17 billion is false. Let's get that right. Two, share ECG. Just the a week or two ago, ECG tells us a power now woman to mean 30% of that power. ECG's losses because of inefficiencies a better system. Their losses have moved from 22% to 30%. So every year when they buy power and sell at about 10 billion, they are able to collect only 7 billion. I if you don't say one you take and you no. And I'm
okay.
So Ministry of Finance then steps in to pay. If I just Google ECG's audited account for 2020, you will see 6 billion in terms of revenue collection and 6 billion as grants from government of Ghana. We inquire, so what do you use this 6 billion for? Because in the financial statement, you then go to the footnotes. The notes will give you the details. Tax Ghana Minister of Finance, for two main issues. Losses are ECG making. And in forex losses, because they sell index in dollar, and the POC must maintain 5.5 CD to the dollar. Meanwhile, today the dollar is almost 8. So the differential alone is about 2.5 billion. And not capacity charge. They are buying all the assembly bar, especially when it is the vice president. So that we know what is truly what you call excess capacity. Maybe an excess capacity. Look, we cannot be 100% perfect in life because we plan and we project and we contract these plans expecting say niema beko yi ebia na demand anko by say nia wopempo ebia na niema bi anko say nia wope. But put the truth out. Look, we were vilified for take or pay. You remember?
Yes.
I'm happy Japan is there. They've signed a take or pay agreement in the energy sector. The Tama LNG project is a take or pay contract. And it is even indexed to crude price. Into crude price, air cost. No, so cost. I have the formula here. Based on the current world market price, no, that gas is the most expensive gas ever. I have beton Ghana. And it's a take or pay. The gas never near ready. They will invoice us and will pay that money. Into the near can say, look, young fan no cre and yejuma. Say no cre that wa, then we can have a very, very good conversation. Then we'll make progress as a nation. That's the vice president of all people.
But JJ, the other thing, and of course, I mean, the bit about the vice president, I think from this document I just referenced, you can see, say, both the capacity charges plus fuel are suppliers. I don't know who they gave it to, but obviously, Omodiama are buying into Uka and Ubomua. And I think how his statement, and I say, or capture in the speech, and a creative problem. Do you think, sir, he knew what he was talking about? Now he set out to mislead the Ghanaian people, and I say you would say, wait, there maybe a genuine mistake.
I do not speak for the vice president. I'm not in it. My meaning, the way you treat program. Sorry, meaning it's removed. The only thing I can say, assembly or debate two Ghana. One from the correct based on available facts. Finally, that capacity Egyapa is on the line. In tariff setting methodology, you have to add the reserve margin. It's a standard practice.
Yeah, that's true.
If government decides, say, man, for reserve margin and count, don't come and tell me, say, no, what they are can't maybe when they are because excess capacity. But reserve margins are not excess capacity. So you must separate that reserve margin. Now they are changing. Now, a big that should be then we can say excess or idle capacity.
Yeah.
Near her quantum, no. Saying, what is the actual amount? A dear you bet me as on mine. You bet my export to be and I ain't to me export to be. You bet me to be a valco and I ain't to be from my valco. Then a bit my inform going forward so that yeah agreement and also by idea. Then we are dealing with facts. But how can you now bomb Dr. Bamiaye? No, we cannot engage in a constructive argument, and we can't formulate policy based on
the other thing, so they say, as at 2016, when you look at our peak load, because even now, your peak load demand is around 3,469 megawatts. So in 2016, it was a little over 2,000 megawatts by 2016. And at the time...
Are you referring to what I sent you?
Oh, no, not... So what you sent that captures our peak load demand today, now.
Oh, I wanted to open to the generation and the load. Okay, but I'm
okay. It now I was just taking you back to 2016. Our peak load demand at the time, it was not up to 3,000 megawatts. No? Good. And say, you share a Juma Moye while in office, and some of the IPPs, purchase power agreement, a power purchase agreement, I'm signing on to near Adeno, a shooty installed capacity to close to 5,000 megawatts, if I'm right. If you look at that, now at the time, can somebody not have raised the issue of capacity charges? You are looking at how more ramping up your installed capacity, as against our peak load demand at the time. Now, any legitimate for anybody to raise concerns at the time, Anna.
You said what was the peak demand in 2016?
A little under 3,000 megawatts.
Fantastic. If you compound that by 10%, because Energy Commission and the catch say we are in this dumsor because we did not make provision for the 10% increment. And I'm about. It's in the 2013 document. It's in the 2016 document. It's in the 2014. I'll forward all of that to you. In the almost 2 year process, we should project say on a compounding basis. We are going to be consuming 10%. Is that the peak demand was 3,000 watts?
Yeah, a little under 3,000. And they knew 3,000 megawatts at the time.
Okay, let me just use around 3,000.
Yes.
Whilst we talk, let me hear calculation.
Yes.
What did they make nothing? Now we've done about 6 years. Is that not it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you do 3,000 growing at 10% on a compounding basis for 6 years, you must have available, not even installed, on a dependable capacity of 5,340.
Over the 6-year period?
Yes, over the 6 years. And I'm just like everybody just take 3,000 and do a compounding rate on 10% for 6 years.
But another would mean, say, within the 6-year period, the everyone say, first year in the 6-year period, no, you will still have a lot of excess capacity to deal with, for which you have to pay.
So therefore, ask yourself, say, in the first year, did we have 5,000 megawatts? Or this plant kept coming?
Ekosiisen on
I don't know if you get my point.
Did we have 5,000 megawatts? Meaning, say, in the first year, no, after 2016, no, Ubu says, "Say 5,000 available."
No, we didn't have that. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. So it cannot be the case there. But you see, what kills this argument is that 5 years now, 6 years now.
Of course.
So we are no more talking of projections. I see, say, the issue of now what you call dependable capacity is what was really available. I don't know if you get my point.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, not be true. So you no longer come and say, so, you say, yeah, me say, I want to say, 6 years, power here declare availability. Power here actually you're consuming it. And here and a year reserve margin. Utefuma, ahena aka. And ahena yetia. We should be able to do this.
Yeah.
Because we are no more saying, say, in 2023, you should have known. No. We are talking of our terms in terms of what actually transpired.
What transpired.
So give us real figures and let's analyze it.
Yeah. No, I get you. It makes things simpler. From 2017, available capacity are plants in declare you're saying. Emu saying you use to here, we reserve margin if we more saying an aka, which will then be excess. And how much did that cost us? Now breakdown. But yeah, I get that bit. I'm hoping, sir, the energy ministry can help us in that. And you can
do that in gigawatt hours.
Absolutely.
And no, you no longer go to megawatt because it's then gigawatt hours because we've declared megawatts. Maybe I've declared that 30 megawatts is available, which is 1 gigawatt for 24 hours. So it is what you call maybe 3 or 30 gigawatt hours. And then you multiply that by the capacity charge that you agreed on and pay. So we should be able to provide that. That shouldn't be any. And they have the records.
Very well. My ancient friends, this will be my final question. And again, back to post now we on the risk of experiencing massive dumsor if nothing is done urgently. You make the point, say, the reserve margin, yen peak load demand who CCR. We should have a dependable capacity now of 4,096 megawatts. Meanwhile, there was CCR at 3,861 megawatts. Not just say.
No. Let me correct something.
Okay.
That 3,800, no.
Yes.
Was what was declared available.
Okay.
I don't know if you get my point.
Okay.
Be a plant, the best thing about. I don't know if you get my point.
Mm-hmm. And
that would then change the dependable capacity going forward. But I'm saying that having experienced an available capacity of this 3,000, you just mentioned the figure.
469?
469.
Yeah.
We must be watching our dependable capacity going forward.
Okay.
Because AXA, they will have to leave this June, which means they will lose 350. Egyapa Mercer decided, say, based on Yema Maker, you are extending the power agreement for AXA for another 5 years with capacity charges embedded in it. May say AXA will expire the agreement June this year. Government realizing has decided, say, they will extend that contract by another 5 years. embedded in that contract. I know what I'm saying. I have a copy of what is going on.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Car power, because of Nyayeka, they've decided that they will extend it by 10 more years. And no has capacity charge embedded in it. Fuel issue. You can say take over there and yet a buy assign it. July, August, the LNG will start billing us. That's my LNG facility. It is a take or pay agreement. All I am saying is that you can disagree with NDC. So maybe you didn't sign, you signed a lot. We can discuss those. I have no problem. Look, we are human. We would always learn from what we do and we make progress. But to verify it and say, take or pay, and yet you shouldn't assign take or pay. When you are doing it, you say the answer, you're in here, car power, you're in here. When you want to extend that plant, I will say you're in here. You say you pay 17 billion. When you know very well, say you pay excess capacity of 17 billion, you are misleading the people of Ghana.
Jaje, my nasi, Bibiania. Do we have a Japan? Okay, afeina omo no afeina omo connecting no yeah into there. Mate do the jina so when we get him here the never so na wetie in common be why into jina so yes in the John Jinapor na mote in Kano Ekosiisen na high Asempa 94.7 FM. Very soon we'll be getting into our conversation around ENRA Supreme Court ruling a bar out. Efa Asen North in Seminole na America catchers and yebenya a lawyer for me no studio ha already Bakwaba be cancer dada member of parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency. The Honorable Andy Apia Kubi Abekansa or no a lawyer ni sounds so na a member of the NDC legal team, lawyer Eduji Tamaklo, or no answer or a counsel to one of the parties in Aseme Koko PMO Supreme Court Enra or non so Babekan Sanafe Yetumi Edi yen common into Munshan so MIA. Ma Mema Honorable Akwaba na Mua Moten. Okay, I'm told, sir, Andrew Egyapa Mercer about a homane. So, Honorable Mercer, Akwaba na poem to then.
Munio Bain, Atumara, also there.
Yamena Dum Bibia Boko, pa. And I think we'll start off your colleague, John Jinapor, is on the other line. In the Ebesha, say briefly from the issue of capacity charges, or we've gone back and forth on it. Last week, Vice President Rekasano, he made a point there from 2017 till now, Yetria bear 17 billion Ghana cedis in capacity charges. Breakdown about them pocho.
You minchia with for na mama ya happy Easter. My request there. Say obi awo enyim there Easter day na you say
Nanyan.
Many workers say I mean maybe can wa hard down.
Okay.
What to task yeah o the Easter dia on chain in your on for you say then encounter na Easter full and odi Sisiano secret I mean papa I make sure that Ghana no we are seeing and cultural diversity lama okodwa ha the celebrate you sasa yeah it's the old to second
yeah Easter on the second D
obi enyo Easter the 9 second D na Christmas is the 9 takra when you saw the bomb when you
oh Mebadodo right now
over the Xmas
Mebadodo
obi
yes
you pay the exact breakdown of Ministry of Finance
okay
I'm sure that in the coming days those Sabaka documents they will share beyond track. Now, you see, say, a signed power purchase agreement. Now, on your own responsibility, there I will able to provide the fuel as I'm a power producers now. The cost of fuel,
But would that be excess capacity?
Oh, Obi, a compute will cost on all the power generate now as a supply into what grade. Now say component be a supply fuel armor power producers no at your cost. Now it's your capacity so when they generate or the fact that while supply no able to ya the cost ni I
no, at the back count, but saw that chichim on make excess capacity on and
Rebo. Say gas, yeah, part of fuel input a procure. Now, say on take or pay basis. Now, say cost of gas no. They generate electricity no. Your computational
no, my American there, honorable. If you sign a normal power purchase agreement, now you're fan there, Nipano reproduce specifically what you demand. There is no excess capacity. You will still pay for the fuel cost to the person. The fuel cost should not be part of your calculation of excess capacity. Anna.
Why?
Why should it? In the end, if the agreement has no excess capacity, so excess capacity be an agreement, no, they are giving you what you demand on take or pay basis, for example. Excess capacity, until you will not add fuel to excess capacity. That's the point I'm making.
Well, I won't ask it. But say, it's a Minister, Honorable Dr. Matupuku Prempene, press statement to make here. One of the slides we projected, excess capacity and associated payments.
Okay.
What it means is that in computing excess capacity, all the associated payments they incur now is part of the cost to the state. The cost the state bears it and has to pay for it.
Ekosiisen
in the accounting, if you describe it as excess capacity, then the question is, why they split in half now and the excess capacity plus other payments? It's that description there. It can be made available to you, but I'm saying that they will cost me now as a result of the agreements assigned, which agreements are in excess of your demand. They all amount to excess capacity payments. I don't know why the confusion, but as far as I'm concerned, issues are very clear that as of 2016, there were a certain installed capacity of a little over 3,000 megawatts. Now, the peak demand was in the region of about 2,600. More exact figures. So, I'm going to say, drive a secondary development dialogue or youth center.
Okay.
And so, my drive now. I cannot give you the exact figure, but I'm giving you a approximation.
Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. I'll give you exact figures.
On Asempa FM.
And between that time and only
20
power purchase agreement were signed.
Okay.
Over the period, it will be fair. That will increase installed capacity to about 5,300. March 2022, the highest peak load of about 3,200. That gap between what is installed and what the peak is all paid for. And see, your assessment be on the cost that the state has incurred. Four components and one can win now. It's all part of the cost that you incur for which you would have to account. And see, that is the reality.
Yeah, but honorable, say, calculate what you would pay for now. Yes, the installed capacity will be there, but on the available capacity minus your reserve margin, ma obekano no your excess capacity, rather than looking at it from the installed capacity angle, because the person can install a plant that should generate, say, 400 megawatts. What would be available to you at a point in time, or say 300 megawatts? You would need 200 megawatts. Inti, for 200 megawatts out of the 300 megawatts. Now, AU reserve margin, ABA 18% of 200 megawatts.
Obi. Yeah, them make no error.
Yes.
I am more there afford for them trap no. And I know that John Jinapor is want to put also install capacity na available capacity.
Yes, capacity.
In some instances they use the word
dependable capacity. Yes.
Look, the truth of the matter is, let's just say that them argument no crano has some this, which is not the case. Reserve margin or a decision as a country, it take the ranger issue there based on best practice. As a backer will pick this so that so emergency be back, then the reserve is available to power the plant off as a result of the emergency. Now, in copy, depending on what their policy is, have a reserve margin of between 12 and 20%. Okay. And see, your friend there, as a 20% as a car, when peak, which was attained in March of 2022, of 3,200, 10% of that would be 320. And see, 20% of that would be, I believe, 640. If you add it to them 3,200 now, that takes you to 3,800.
Absolutely.
And see, really, if you back that out of the installed capacity, and if you look at even the data available from Energy Commissioner, the dependable capacity really is the capacity that is available as of now. So, for example, T3, when you saw it unaffordable, I think when they tried to commission it, and see, even though it's installed, I think it's about 220 megawatts. It's not part of the dependable capacity. Okay, Ameri from last year, because of the decision that was taken to move it to our Maso Santa region, there's only 1 day product. And even though it's installed, it's not immediately available for generation at Maza because it's not part of the generation mix at the present moment. So back them figures out crana. Still, there is excess that you are paying for.
Yes.
And see that argument that if you put your reserve margin and all that, in any event, 3 years before one tariff mechanism would deploy for purposes of billing by ECG, will recognize reserve margin as part of it. It's that in itself is cost that ECG does not cover as part of one billing mechanism. Or that ban if you are doing your computational, you have to factor all those costs beyond what if ECG's billable capacity are, why then we'll distribute to arrive at the total cost government will incur for electricity distribution system.
Enti Demra Eric Kano maybe or a matter of nomenclature and the accounting structure that was used.
Now, I want to raise the issue now. They know the truth that if you are mentioning the excess capacity, no, it's not only the amount of money that you pay to the IPPs, but also the cost of fuel and all the other components that are associated with it, and all constitute the excess capacity payments. That, if you like, you can call it excess capacity plus associated payments, because all those payments, no, they arise as a result of the excess capacity.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
JJ, one explanation to satisfy you, Mebwa. Aden.
When did fuel consume become excess capacity? Obi, you see, I like your interviews because you deal with facts. I refer you to the 2021 Energy Outlook final document from the Energy Commission, page 21. Remember for the document here, bro. A total amount of $642 million was used to procure fuel for the operation of thermal power plants in the country. What do you say? You use $642 million and the tow fuel. And all the thermal plants and running. A buy way decided say, private company be no be share between ITT. I know they may deal with any different crowd, we shake and so a cup of tea be a medinama and Mikromu. Into what of fuel? 642 the amount. For IPPC, I was in with your master's capacity. I'm a woman generating power, my ECG, Meboa.
Yes.
ECG, I get power not to my consumers. As what GT free consumers, what they call IPPC, near DB Tria fuel, near DB Tria or Momoka. Why to me and yet? I buy Abegis Akanetria, was your excess capacity. Obi, does this make sense to you? Please, with the greatest of respect to you, my friend Egyapa, please, how can this be described as excess capacity? Fuel that has been consumed by plants to generate electricity, maybe you Obi are consuming. Come and see my light bill every month. I pay every month. One franc or three or I went to me and Koji. Because of that, I buy a step in a betria. And then you blame President Mahama. If he says that you are paying energy sector payments, fine. You can say it. You can give it any nomenclature. But don't come and blame Mahama, say, what the plants are, but plants in Siwa and Yajuma. And a Wuchiantino, I'm not debt to GDP in Akoso. Is that not the argument? But now, Deputy Minister, and I'm not the Deputy Minister is confirming, say, that payments, no. Do wanna a fuel 642 million no convert ya obi. It's about 3.7 billion cedis. So if every year you make fuel payments of over 3 billion times 5 and 15 billion. Let's work with you more. Why come and draw my mind into your argument? Then can be a buying the car say, oh, you're tough fuel. You're better gun of Obetia. You're near your fuel, no. Fuel nika 15 billion. And no Namakana Kosra. But when you draw
no, JJ. That with all due respect, you see, let's no, Mr. Obi, it's unfortunate. I cannot. JJ.
Hold on, another time we'll do the argument if you are busy.
And
JJ, Mr. Obi, Mr. More program more
yeah, and I think we'll have to postpone this.
Make a point to be I.
Okay.
So you have ENI gas, which is take or pay. It's fuel. Now, because you have ENI gas that has to be consumed. Because if you don't consume it, you are paying for it. And see, as a car power ship is a basic which has to be turned on. Now, when you turn that on, what it means is that, or they turn the plant to be off. Maybe a hydro generating plant. They say, and yet what you'll be doing is to pay for the capacity of the car power ship and also pay for the non-consumption of the gas. But that's my So if you are assessing the fuel relative to the power that is generated, you ought to do a net off of what it is that
of what?
Necessarily you have to turn on because of cost that you would incur by all means, as opposed to the one that gives you least cost if you turn it off. And let it not be said there. And so, for example, because of that take or pay gas transaction, you have to consume the power through Ameri, as opposed to say, because JJNIM, the Gridco, they have something that is called the merit order dispatch. Ordinarily, in the least cost of power, generators or generate the least cost of power only the dispatch in the first. But because of some contractual arrangement that is in place now, you have to dispatch some power, not necessarily the least cost. As matter. In the assessment, though, you may say that why there any more installed capacity of 5,300, okay? Now we'll peak demand, 5,200. Now excess capacity 2,000 no. Why are you still incurring fuel cost? Because if you don't pay for the ENI gas, in fact, whether you consume it or you don't consume it, you will pay. And see, that fuel cost includes payments for the gas.
Okay, Honorable, let's push this to next week.
Just 1 minute,
30 seconds.
Yes, Egyapa, you have to net off. So why don't you net off, Egyapa?
No, but if you net off, you still have excess.
And come and say
that's the point.
Excess capacity is 17 billion. You say
look,
net off.
If you net off, you still have excess. No, I don't know why. Look, Obi.
Honorable.
Like I said, the exact figures from finance ministry.
You are consuming power
now. Components then we can have an argument.
And let's sit down and do
but
this
there's
next
no
week.
denying.
No,
and JJ,
I'm sure
let's respect
yes.
There's no denying that when you were in government, for good or bad reason, and look, you can justify it. I don't have a problem. I may disagree with you.
But Minister, when will you get the details of the excess capacity?
I'm sure that I will get it for you by close of this week. And we can engage on Monday.
Yeah, we can do that on Tuesday.
We can engage on Asempa. Me and you will go to the studio and deal with issues.
Tuesday.
I don't have a problem at all.
Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Tuesday is a deal.
So that we don't debate on air.
Yeah.
Deal with issues. There's no problem at all.
Very well. Into Tuesday is a deal. Tuesday is a deal. We'll do this on Tuesday, God willing.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Great. Yeah, that must say. Into one former deputy energy minister. The other is a current deputy energy minister. Both of them are MPs. One representing the Upper Kosogo, the other representing the people of Secondary constituency. And on Tuesday, we have a date with them, and then we get into the figures. By which time, hopefully, now Honorable Andrew Egyapa Mercer and Saka breakdown of the 17 billion from the finance ministry, and then we can sit down and interrogate them.